Winner take all Game 5 tonight, 8 p.m. on ESPN2 WNBA Finals. And we have NBA action as well on ESPN starting at 8. The Hawks and the Knicks, and then the Warriors against the Lakers. That's Wednesday at 10:30. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. We have another special guest. Malika Andrews is in the studio joining us on Jalen and Jacoby.
Malika, family affair.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us.
Guest, yes, special.
Yes. Yes, fair. That's fair. That's fair. Well, do you know who is special? A gentleman by the name of Zion Williamson.
Amen.
Zion. I have been so impressed with his first 2 games in the preseason. I'm going to do the media thing and completely overreact and buy into all the hype. He was 12 for 13, 29 points. He looked so good, Malika. Am I overreacting by saying that this man is a superstar and we will be talking about him on this show every time he takes the floor?
Are you overreacting? Yes. Is he a superstar that we will be talking about every time he takes the floor? Also, yes. I think that both of those things can coexist. I was actually at his first game in Atlanta, and I mean, you had kids who were holding up signs and crying when he signed their jerseys, and I mean, the entire thing was just a show. The entire thing, and I mean, look at that! Look at that hammer! I mean, that's not something you generally see in NBA games, let alone a rookie's first preseason game. I mean, he only has room to grow. I'm impressed.
Jalen, what did you see from Zion?
And also, what attracts the audience? Somebody that's box office. Zion is powerful. He's athletic. He has a magnetic smile. He has a humility about himself, and he has potential. And people love all of those things. And so he embraces it. And so his ability to attack and finish at the basket is going to be like very few in the league. It reminds me of a combination, since you were at the game, Malik, I was watching it. When he jumped off 2 feet, I'm like, is that a human highlight film 2.0?
Yes.
Mixed with a Sean Kemp?
Yes.
It kind of gave me that vibe. How did you feel?
I mean, it was impressive. The dunks were especially, I kept a little tally. I was like, oh, there it is. And the thing is, his first dunk, you didn't even have to wait 2 minutes into the game until he hammered it down. I mean, it was impressive. If we're nitpicking, obviously the one thing that is a glaring hole in the modern NBA game that he doesn't seem to have right now is his three-point shot. I asked him about it after the game, and he just said, you know what? It's something that's going to come with time. I have the utmost confidence. I'm going to keep shooting it. Obviously, that didn't carry into his game against Chicago. He didn't keep shooting it, but he had 29 points. So I'm not going to nitpick that. But it seems like, this is a good thing. And to your point about box offices, Jalen, this is a guy who brought 10,000 people to a freaking open practice. I mean, when does that happen? In New Orleans, which is a football town.
Like,
this is, I mean, this is going to be something special. And I'm so glad that he's kind of living up to the hype, because the organization is working so hard to make it so that people aren't saying, this is the next LeBron. This is what they're trying to say. No, he's the only Zion. Don't compare him to LeBron, even though they had their first preseason game on the very same day, 16 years apart. It's like, don't compare him. I mean, it's already happening. And so I'm glad he's kind of able to take it in stride and not have that be kind of a deflating balloon.
So Jalen mentioned his personality, and you got to spend a little bit of time with him after that game in Atlanta. Like, what do you think about him as a person? We've all seen the dunks, but what about off the court?
He's a kid. And that's the thing that continuously strikes me, is that sometimes we look at these guys as if they are these just superhumans, and he's joking with his coaches, kind of giggling at words that can be taken as double entendres. He's a 19-year-old kid. He really is. He's still getting used to kind of the spotlight and the media attention. He's someone who still gets a pregame text from his stepdad every single game, and he needs that to kind of get on the court. So he does strike me as someone who's still maturing, who's still kind of figuring out who he is. But he's sweet as pie. He's someone I just want to I just can't do, but he's a really sweet guy.
And the thing that gets lost in professional sports is infrastructure. No different than parenting a child. When he gets drafted by the Pelicans, you talked about them doing a good job of minimizing expectations, but Alvin Gentry's been an offensive innovator wherever he's basically been. You have Drew Holiday, who's a seasoned vet, got a big deal, is comfortable in his own skin. And then you have a couple of rookies around his age, like Lonzo and Ingram, that are young enough to still speak the same language, but old enough to have seen adversity, because both of those guys were lottery picks that got traded. So they built him a situation for him to be successful.
Absolutely. I mean, it really does seem like, the front office all the way down is all there to make sure that Zion gets what he needs in this first season. That being said, though, if he doesn't live up to it on the court, if he doesn't live up to that hype, they can only pad him and protect him so much. So that 29-point game, that 16-point game, those dunks that he's putting down, all of that is actually helping him. He's helping himself in that way, in a way that, Alvin and David Griffin and all these people can't do if he's not putting out the numbers on the court. So are we overhyping him? Yeah. Is this preseason 2 games in? Yeah. Did the Hawks also kind of make the Pelicans look good because they didn't play a whole lot of defense? Also, yeah. But let's hand it to him. This is a kid who really dazzled in his opener.
Zion wasn't the only person dunking all over the competition. Giannis was up to his old tricks. He had, 22 points, 11 rebounds in just 21 minutes. Watching this game, I was sitting watching it, and he was just getting his way to the basket, bullying his way into the paint, and just dunking all over everybody. So the question I have is this, everyone looks at his game and says, he needs to shoot a jump shot. He needs to develop a jump shot. But when you can get to the rim the way that he can, does he need to develop a jump shot, Malika?
Oof, man, I'm so curious to get to Jalen's thoughts on this, but here's what I think. In the regular season, no. He's going to be able to get to the basket at will like that. And also, I'm really glad to see Dante DiVincenzo out on the court and healthy because
Shout out to his fresh fade.
Yeah,
too.
that was a rough touch and go there a little bit last season. So in the regular season, I do think that Giannis is going to be able to make it work without a jumper. He's the MVP. He's an amazing, incredible player. We haven't seen his skill set combined with his length really ever before, and that is something that is freaking awesome. But in the playoffs, when you're playing the same team for as many as 7 games and they have time to strategize and try different things, that was the issue in the playoffs for him last year. He couldn't put down those daggers because he couldn't get to the basket at will with that higher level, that more intensity. And so I think if they are going to be a team that is continuously in the finals, that's when having a jump shot would be something that's just a little bit extra that could solidify them as someone who can, as a team that can really throw down the hammer and potentially win a finals.
Jalen, your thoughts?
I'm actually glad that we're talking about Zion and Giannis back to back, because all young players have room for growth. And both of these guys embody what the new big man is going to be in today's NBA. He has the dominant paint presence of a Shaquille O'Neal, but their body types are clearly different. Zion and he, both terrific ball handlers. The one play you saw him do a crossover and go down the middle and dunk, that was against Mike Conley, okay? He has those ball handling skills. So for Zion, people are gonna say, we're gonna take away his left hand. And then he's going to have to work on that. We're going to take away his layups and dunks. He's got to work on that. For the Greek Freak, since he can play a lot of minutes at the 5, and usually he's, unlike Zion, going to be the tallest player out there, you really ain't going to be able to stop him from getting to the basket. So he's one of those guys, along with Zion, you know they can't necessarily shoot, but you can't stop them from getting to the basket. But like Malika said, when the floor shrinks, the last 2 minutes of a game, when teams are doubling, tripling, teaming you, when the playoffs come, that's when your efficiency can be exposed from shooting perimeter shots. Ben Simmons, the exact same thing. If he can't make jumpers outside of the paint, then it limits what Philadelphia can do. So yes, Giannis, if they plan on winning the East and beating a team like Philly, who I believe is more talented, he will have to be able to make some perimeter jump shots to soften up the defense.
It is now time for Soft Move or Boss Move.
Uh-oh.
Malika, Jalen Rose is a veteran NBA player. I, however, am a veteran rec league player. So I am so happy to present to you this tweet from a gentleman named Carl Anthony Towns. He tweeted, was at Equinox here in the Bay, enjoying my acai bowl, shout out to the acai bowl, and was asked if I would join a basketball league because I was, quote, tall. I told him I'm out, and he said I look like I at least tried basketball in high school. In actuality, he was right. Malika, not realizing Carl Anthony Towns is Carl Anthony Towns and asking Carl Anthony Towns to join your rec league basketball team, soft move or boss move?
Wow. Soft move, man.
Soft move.
I mean, if you, first of all, if you're an experienced rec player, but you were I assume that went hand in hand with some NBA fandom, right? If you
Yes.
are if you're a hardcore rec player who's out there recruiting at an Equinox, also, I'm pretty sure that's the Equinox my father used to work at, so shout out that.
Oh, shout out to your dad's
Yeah,
Equinox.
shout out to my dad.
Yeah.
You have to know who Carl Anthony Towns is. I mean, this isn't the NFL. This isn't guys hiding behind masks or under helmets. This is the biggest league in the world. It's taking over. If you are a basketball person, you should know who Carl Anthony Towns is. And yeah, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're not necessarily,
Not on national TV every night. Not the Lakers.
But Carl Anthony Towns is a freaking all-star. You should know who he is. Soft move, dude.
Jalen, soft move or boss move?
I am rolling with my family, Malika, from the Bay. This is a soft move. And I'm going to go a different reason why. Fortunately for me, I've been pretty famous since 1991. And I've learned sometimes people know who you are, yet they don't say anything.
They act like
and
they
I want
don't.
to use
Yep.
both of you guys as examples. Jacoby was a 10-year producer. Now he's been on television almost 10 years. Same with you, Malika, now being on TV so much. There are people that's going to come up to you and talk to you and or not say anything and know who you are. You can't be hooping at an Equinox and not know a 7-foot guy that'll eat an ICR bowl that's shooting threes ain't Carl Anthony Towns. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Yeah, I'm sure that my rec league captain would call my phone and be like, you know what? You're off the team. We got Carl Anthony Towns now. I'd be like, all right, I understand. Thank you so much for coming through, Malika. You are welcome to join us any time that you want. I understand if you never come back. Yeah, that's the way it is. We'll be back with more on Jalen and Jacoby right after this.
Got to give the people